said last week that, quote, "This is a great week for New Zealand, with 2 pieces of legislation encouraging job opportunities and removing the barriers to work," end quote. How many jobs does she expect to be created from these changes?
The Honourable Bill English.
Mr Speaker, on behalf of the Minister of Social Development, she was referring to the Future Focus legislation and the 90-day legislation, both of which create more opportunities for jobs. With respect to how many, of course, the member will know legislation doesn't create jobs. What creates jobs are businesses making investments and making the decisions to hire someone, and the government is relentlessly focused on encouraging them to make those positive decisions.
The Honourable Annette.
Supplementary question. In light of that answer, if she has no idea how many jobs will be created from her great week, why should New Zealanders have any confidence in a government that has no plan for jobs, is poll-driven and uses gimmicks rather than substance for an excuse for policy?
The Honourable Bill English.
Well, Mr Speaker, because the government is executing a wide-ranging plan to manage this economy to achieve 2 objectives. One is undo the damage done by that government, and the second is to get this economy on a path to recovery. And the early signs of that are promising.
Supplementary question, Mr Speaker. Did her great week include help for nearly 40,000 people who've had to apply to the government for assistance to pay for their children's school uniforms, stationery and fees? And if so, has she factored in the GST increase in 37 days' time, which will further push up the cost for these struggling families?
The Honourable Bill English.
Well, Mr Speaker, the Minister is doing a much better job than that government did.
Point of order, the Honourable Annette.
Mr Speaker, my question wasn't about the previous government. It was a clear question about 40,000 people who've had to go to the government for help.
Order. And I can't help but coming back to my fundamental point. If the Honourable Member really wanted to ask a question rather than make a political statement, she could ask a more simple, straightforward question. But the idea of that question was very clearly to make a political statement, and then don't appeal to me as Speaker if the member doesn't like the political statement made in return. I mean, question time is meant to be a time to ask tough questions, and I'm very supportive of that, and members have seen me be very hard on ministers dodging straight, tough questions. But political statements don't appeal to me when a minister doesn't answer the way a member would like, because, point of order, the Honourable Annette.
I seek leave to table a press report from the New Zealand Herald showing that 40,000 people had to apply to the government for help for their school uniforms, fees and stationery.
We're not going to seek leave to table press reports. The Honourable Bill English in answer to the question.
Mr Speaker, when GST goes up on the 1st of October, beneficiaries will be compensated immediately. Under that government in 2008, inflation was 5%, and beneficiaries went a whole year under 5% inflation before they received an adjustment. We're giving them one straight away on a 2.5% increase in GST.
The Honourable Annette King.
Supplementary question.
That's 3 people.
Order.
Did her great week extend to places like Wanganui, which has seen a number of businesses close recently? And what's in the government's plans that will see these businesses reopen, new ones started, and the almost 500 people who went onto the unemployment benefit in that town back into jobs?
The Honourable Bill English.
Well, Mr Speaker, the opposition should get behind the government's program, because the government's program is aimed to rebalance this economy, to increase exports, savings, after-tax incomes and investment. What the government's program is not going to do is fool people into thinking that jobs based on massive borrowing and government spending blowouts are real jobs. And that's what Labor tried to tell the people of Wanganui. It's turned out they were misled.
The Honourable Annette King.
Supplementary question. Did Budget Advice Services tell her that they agree that recent government policies gave New Zealanders a great week? Or have they told her what we have heard, that thousands of families are facing severe hardship, struggling to pay their mortgages, rent, phone and power bills, and how will driving down wages, increasing GST and policy gimmicks help them?
The Honourable Bill English.
Mr Speaker, first of all, the Minister regularly communicates with all of those services that support New Zealanders in the community and does so very effectively. Secondly, the Labor Party might want to ignore one fact, but it will undermine their credibility if they do so. All of those families get a tax cut on the 1st of October, and the average household will be... So members of the opposition say there's no tax cut on the 1st of October. Well, they're wrong, and the average household will be $25 a week better off after paying their extra GST.
Question number 5, Materia Ture.
Thank you very much, Mr.
Order.
Speaker. Point of order, Mr.
Point
Speaker.
of order, Materia Ture.
Sir, I seek leave to have my question